8-31. You can use a number line to represent the x values for which a polynomial graph is above or below the x-axis. The bold parts of each number line below show where the output values of a polynomial function are positive. That is, where the graph is above the x-axis. Okay, that's important to remember. So the bold parts are where our graph is above the x-axis. The open circles show locations of the x-intercepts, or roots of the function. Where there is no shading, the value of the function is negative, or below the x-axis. So sketch a possible graph to fit each number line, and then write a possible equation. Each number line represents the x-axis for a different polynomial. All right, so we're looking at A. I like to just draw my graphs right over these number lines. I think that's probably easier. So what it was saying here is, right, where it's not bolded, right, so this region is not bolded, this region is not bolded. That tells us that our graph is below. Okay, so it's below here. Where it is bolded, where you see this and you see this, okay, that means our graph is above the x-axis there. So if you look at it, right, this one's going to have to start out coming from beneath. We know it touches at -3, and then it's got to go to the other side because it's bolded over here. Okay, so then it's got to curve and it's got to come back and hit our next x-intercept. And then you see, right, it's not bolded, so it has to go down beneath. And then it's going to curve and come back. It's going to hit here, and since it's bolded on this side, we know it's going to finish going up. So this one has a positive orientation. We know it's an odd degree, right, because the end behaviors are different. And if you look at your root behaviors, it passes straight through, and straight through. So all of our factors are going to be linear factors. So if you want to pause the video and try to come up with the equation, please do it. I'll go ahead and write out the answer now. This one should be y is equal to x plus 3 times the quantity of, I think that's an x minus 1, so that'd be x plus 1 times an x minus 4. All right, so if you understand what you're doing now, please feel free to pause it and try to do the rest of them and then come back and check it. Or if you're stuck, just listen along. So letter B, I'm going to take it and I'm going to look at the fact that I can tell that it's below right here and it's below right here. And it touches the x-axis here, here, here. And then we know that it's above the x-axis here and there. So as we do this, right, I know I'm starting out below. I'm going to come up, I'm going to hit my x-axis, and it looks like I'm going to go ahead and cross because the next part is bold. Then we're going to come down, and look what happens here, right? We're bold on the left side of 0, and we're bold on the right side. So if it's going to hit at 0, it's going to have to bounce back off and come back up, right? So it's bold on both sides, and then we can take it and run it straight through down here. So this one definitely has a negative orientation. If you're writing your equation, you're going to write y equals negative, and then so our factor here is going to be an x plus 5. A factor here where it's 0, right, because it's bouncing, we know that this one has to be squared. And then this one here, we've got an x minus 2. So I like to put my x's first, usually, if it's just by itself. So negative x squared times an x plus 5 times an x minus 2. And that would be our equation. All right, moving on to letter C. With this one, I can tell that it's above the x-axis on the left. So I know I'm going to start up here. And I know it's going to end above the x-axis. It looks like everything else is going to be below, except for where it touches. So I'm going to go down. It's got to come up and touch the x-axis at 1, but I can't cross, right, because it's not bolded. So I'm going to bounce back down. And then I'm going to come up through this one. So positive orientation. And then it looks like we've got a factor of x plus 1. I think the next one, what number was that? I covered it up so I can't see it. So I think the next one was, is that a 1? So this one would be like an x minus 1. And since it's bouncing, we'll square it. And then this one is an x minus 4. Let's put it together. Y equals x plus 1 times x minus 1 squared times x minus 4. Looking at D. So it looks like we got to start below. We got to be below here, and we got to be below over here. We got to be above here and here. So we'll start down, we'll cross, come back down. Looks like we need to cross, so we're below. We need to cross, and we need to cross. So this one has a negative orientation, so y is equal to negative. And we would say x plus 2, x plus 1, x minus 1, and x minus 2. And that is our answer. So hopefully you did okay with those ones on 8-31. If you have questions, please let me know.